Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, trolls and derps and geeks and Godzilla fans alike. Welcome all. I am Sean McCollum, and listen to this. And trust me, you're gonna want to hear every second of this video. And this is the finale for the NES Godzilla Creepypasta. Know that. And it's not called Godzilla.exe, but trust me, you're gonna want to hear this.
God. That was my first thought in realizing that I would have to fight Red, the creature that tormented me through nearly the whole game. How could I fight someone that can kill with one touch? It seemed totally impossible. Thankfully, Red was no longer able to deliver one-hit kills, but despite that, this was still the most difficult battle I've ever faced, in this game or otherwise. If I had any real comprehension of what I was getting into before I started the fight, I would never have done it. I very soon learned what a horrible mistake I made. Red reached out and clawed at Godzilla, and when those claws cut through him, I felt it. I know that it's common for people to
And I am reenacting for you guys on what kind of damage he was feeling when Godzilla was getting clawed.
Binge up when their video game characters get hit or loses a life, but this was not that. This was genuine physical pain. When the pain struck me, I paused the game.
Ow!
I hadn't suffered any real injuries. It felt just like my shoulder had been clawed through. I had seen and experienced many unpleasant things at this point, but the game causing me real pain was where I drew the line. Yes, I would be disappointed that I wouldn't get to see the ending, but the risk was no longer worth it. I was about to get up and take one last screenshot and turn off the NES when I realized something else. I couldn't get up. I was paralyzed to my seat. The only muscles I could move were my fingers and thumbs. As the terror set in, a new message appeared on the screen.
He said, "You are not leaving." The game is actually communicating with this guy. Listen.
You are not leaving. I started to scream, but only a weak choking sound was coming out. I desperately tried to get my body to move, but it did nothing. I was looking every direction, and then I looked over at the computer. Somehow the computer was taking screenshots of the game on its own. And I began the fight. I still don't know how or why. Something in the game must have been causing it. And since Red could hear what I was saying, I tried begging him to let me go. From here, things started to get hazy, as I was under extreme stress at the time, but from what I can remember, I said, I'm sorry I insulted you. I didn't mean it. I didn't know things would get this serious. Please, just let me go. If you let me go, I promise I'll never tell anyone or turn the game on ever again. Please. And Red replied, You pathetic worm. It's too late
now.
Only
one will survive.
Only one will survive. The statement could not be any more clear. If I couldn't kill Red, then he would kill me. Like an idiot, I had played around with something I didn't understand, and now it might cost me my life. I stopped struggling to move and accepted the reality of the situation. There was only one way to get out of this alive. I had to kill Red. It all went by so fast. If it weren't for the screenshots, I might not have remembered any of this, just like in the chase levels, Red moved at horribly fast speeds. There was barely enough time to process a thought. And thus, there was no time to form a strategy. I had to rely solely on my wits and reflexes. To make things worse, there was no way to predict what kind of attacks Red might use, so I constantly had to be on the offensive and defensive. I felt every hit that Godzilla took. They all hurt. I tried so hard to avoid the damage, but every attack that I dodged left me vulnerable to another, and the pain would only get worse. After he jumped over me, Red's eyes started to glow. I moved as far back as I could and ducked. There was no dodging this one. When this hit me, I really did scream. I screamed so loud that someone else in the apartment should have heard me. But they didn't. Just looking at the image hurts me, making me remember the incinerating burn. I paused the game. It hurt so bad. But Red unpaused the game to attack me again, which made me furious. I immediately counterattacked with the heat beam again and again until the power meter was totally diminished. I wanted Red to hurt like I did. Just before the timer ran out, Red transitioned into his swimming form. I didn't think the timer would still be affecting the battle like this. I'm thankful for it because it gave me a few minutes to collect my thoughts and decide what to do next. I chose to fight Red's next two forms with the monsters I had encountered them with. So, Anguirus was next. It probably wasn't all that smart of an idea, but it's what I did. I jumped up and heat beamed Red in the face, and he moved off screen where I couldn't reach him. Then a wave of large mines started to fall from above. I felt this was unfair, so I shouted, "If you're going to cheat, then why do you even let me use the controller?" Can't break the rules.
You are breaking them!
And then he came at me, rushing from the top left of the screen downward. Damn it! Now I wouldn't even be able to see where his next attack would be coming from. But Red continued to strike from random angles. I constantly moved to swerve around him.
Wait, whoa.
All that smart of an idea from above. I felt this was unfair. Heat beamed Red in the face, and he moved off screen where I couldn't reach him. Then a wave of large mines started to fall from above. I felt this was unfair, so I shouted, "If you're going to cheat, then why do you even let me use the controller?"
Can't break the rules? Are you kidding, Red? You're breaking the rules right now.
Can't break the rules. And then he came at me, rushing from...
And I gotta remind you guys, this is a hacked NES Godzilla game. Yes, this is literally a hacked ROM Godzilla Monster of Monsters NES game with basically all the Godzilla opponents from each movie in this game. Even Biollante makes an appearance.
From the top left of the screen downward. Damn it. Now I wouldn't even be able to see where his next attack would be coming from. But Red continued to strike from random angles. I constantly moved to swerve around him. Another 40 seconds went by and Anguirus was nearly gone. But together, we had forced Red into his flying form. So it was Mothra's turn next. Deciding to fight Red with Mothra was a terrible idea. Mothra was instantly overwhelmed by Red, and the life meter was devastated in a mere 15 seconds.
She's going?
And once Mothra's life was down to 2 bars, Red did something I didn't see coming. He reached out, grabbed Mothra, and ate her. After Mothra was devoured, I felt an agonizing pain, like being crushed to death. Mothra had been killed for my stupidity, and I would share the pain. It was a short transition from the battle to the board, but it felt like an hour. The pain, combined with being unable to move, was driving me insane. I wanted so badly for this to end. I never wanted anything so much. But I still had hope. There was one monster left that could be brought to full health by engaging Red in battle. Solomon. If any of them had a chance to save my life, it would be him. Solomon apparently had some history with Red. As when the fight started, this dialogue appeared. "Traitor, I always hated you. You can die like the rest.
What?
I'd rather die than serve you.
Whoa!
Red took me by surprise again by immediately burning with the demonic fire. For a second time. Solomon.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Let's listen to this carefully, guys.
Apparently had some history with Red. As when the fight started, this dialogue appeared. Traitor. I always hated you. You can die like the rest. I'd rather die than serve you. Red took me by surprise again by immediately burning with the demonic fire. For a second time. As much as it hurt, it actually worked to my advantage. Since Solomon started at full health, he still had some despair. But now Red had used up all of his energy and could not use his ultimate weapon any longer. Now, he would die. As he drew close to the end of his life bar, Red turned his whole body to face the screen and flew upwards, then slamming back down in an attempt to crush Solomon. When it failed to work, he tried to devour Solomon like he had with Mothra. But he wouldn't be eating my monster this time. I thought I'd won. But something was wrong. Red wasn't sinking to the bottom, and I still couldn't move. Red was still alive.
I'm not done with you?
I'm not done with you. After he seemed defeated by Solomon, Red had reconstructed his body into his gigantic final form, transporting us to a blazing inferno in the process. It was reminiscent of our first encounter, except now the scenery...
What? That's so unfair! His life meter's outrageous! That's really unfair! Don't you guys think? Look at his life meter! Don't look at the power meter, but look at the fucking life meter! 3 rows of life? That is really unfair, man. That's cheating. That's major cheat.
Much like the true power of Red had become very real. The music had erupted into a loud blaring sound, a furious drum of death. Faced against Red's insane amount of health, my own demise was imminent. Solomon was my strongest monster, but not even he stood a chance. It was like trying to fight a mountain. Within seconds, Solomon was overpowered and dropped to the floor, and Red crushed him to death beneath his foot. The sadistic demon took his time as he snapped Solomon's vertebrae and ribs like dry, brittle twigs. I could tell he was enjoying our pain. You are weak. Your monsters are weak. You will all die.
Okay, that's really unfair, man.
This is hopeless. I'm a dead man. I had no choice but to send another monster to his death. We're all gonna die. I only hope that they would forgive me. After decreasing Red's health by a minuscule amount, Anguirus was also obliterated. Red unleashed a hail of blazing hot needles into his face until he collapsed. Another moment of unspeakable agony, then nothingness, as my ally faded away. You can't win, Zachary. I asked how he knew my name. I've known you for a long time. I'll tell you a secret.
Please, share.
I killed Melissa. For years, she was being tortured by something that nobody understood.
Okay, that's going too far.
Now I knew what it was. Now I understood why I was mocked about Melissa's death and how the game knew about it, because he knew about it, because he was the one responsible, and this time this time, he was going to kill me. Send your last monster. I will end this futile struggle.
Okay, I think...
I was taken aback by the board to send Godzilla to his final stand.
No.
Barely anything was left of the board. Just Godzilla. And Red's icon and... the fifth monster.
Please tell me the fifth monster can be
In the
used.
midst of everything that was happening, I had completely forgotten about it. I tried yet again to select it. I cursed. I begged. I screamed at it to do anything. Anything to help me. To no avail. There was only one thing to do.
Send Godzilla.
I knew Godzilla didn't stand any more of a chance than the rest did, but maybe now that all the other monsters were gone, the fifth monster might finally awaken. I managed to get the creature's icon selected, and I pressed the A button as fast as I could. The icon started to shake, as if it were trying desperately to move.
Maybe that's him. Maybe that's
I
Zachary.
decided that he was done playing fair, and before I could activate the monster, he went for the killing blow. Paralyzing my heart.
Godzilla, no!
I started to go numb and feeling, but even as my vision was fading away, I still tried to press the A button. Game over.
Godzilla!
Ed surely was breaking one of his rules. But he must have thought that if he could kill me quickly, then it would be too late for any consequences to matter. He would have won.
I'm turning down the volume.
Game over. Game over. Game. Red's power was challenged by no force. It prevented him from killing me. When I regained my vision, I saw a familiar sight. Yeah. We don't have much time. Who are you? You already know me.
I am Melissa.
I am Melissa. What? How is that possible? Red told me that he killed you. It's true. Even after death, he tortures me. If you can't stop him, he'll do the same to you. How will I be able to stop him? I can't fight Red, but there's one who can. I will release him from Red's grasp. Don't give up.
I love you.
I love you.
Okay, this is actually getting serious.
Words stirred something inside of me. I wasn't going to die like this. I had more to fight her for than just my own life. I had to fight to save Melissa and the world that she inhabits. With her help, the fifth monster was finally unleashed. It was time to end this.
Accurate.
Once and for all, together, we would take this damn hellspawn out of existence. They can't save you.
Give back Godzilla.
Strongest playable monster in the game. He had to be if we were to have any chance of surviving. His punch involved turning his hand into blades, which caused some tremendous damage. But Red had more than enough life to spare. In the end, this would come down to pure skill.
Give them back.
With one final strike, Red was destroyed. His body disintegrated and fell below, accompanied accompanied by a soar of triumphant music. Slowly, the paralysis wore off, and I was able to stand again.
With half of a health left.
We had done it. Melissa's death had been avenged, and I felt overwhelming happiness. Until I remembered all the death and pain that led up to this point. All the other monsters who had fought and died. I was about to mourn them, but the game had yet to conclude. Tears of joy streamed down my face. I broke out crying. I cried harder than I had in several years, maybe in my whole life. And all I had been through, all I had discovered, and now the game was coming to an end.
Godzilla!
But before she and the others left, Melissa had something to tell me. You have saved us. We are forever grateful. We'll be together again. Someday.
Oh dear. That's one sad and touchy story.
Someday. Someday.
Yeah, and seriously, 1988?
Night when I played the NES. I'm Zachary. And at the time I write this, it has been 3 weeks since the fateful night when I played the NES Godzilla game. Going back to that night to immediately after I turned off the NES, once I was able to start walking around again, the first thing I did was unplug the NES, take out the cartridges, and put them in separate sock drawers. I looked over at the computer, and all the screenshots that you've seen in the story were saved. I backed up all the images on a flash drive before I turned the computer off just in case. After that, I hit the bed and instantly passed out. It was not a restful sleep, but one of complete exhaustion. It felt like no time had passed before I awoke again. And what a day that was. The first thought I recall coming to my mind was, what the hell happened last night? I thought about it for a short while until it occurred to me to contact the person I got the game from to begin with, Billy. So I called him up and told him just come over to my apartment, which he did. And I showed him the screenshots and gave him a very basic summary of what had happened. At first he thought that I was pulling a joke on him, but he soon realized that wasn't the case. Once it hit him that this was real, he was speechless. He made it clear that he had absolutely not tampered with the game and had no idea about any of this. So then the obvious question was asked to Billy, where did you get it from? I got the simple answer of another friend of mine that I trade games with. He assured me that this was a trustworthy person, and he had never had any issues with the games he got from him before. So Billy called him. But when he told the guy the story, he was shocked and surprised as anyone, except he abruptly hung up on us. This was clearly going nowhere. Before Billy left that day, he asked me if I wanted him to take the cartridge and dispose of it, and I sharply declined. He asked, how could I possibly still want to keep that thing, and I told him that I needed time to think it over. And that was that. Billy and I hadn't talked much since, even though I've told him that this isn't the case. I get the impression that Billy thinks whatever happened with the game is his fault. After he left that day, I did a lot of thinking. It was very hard for me to do anything else, really. I couldn't stop thinking about the game. There were so many questions left unanswered. What was Red? Was Melissa really in the game? How did she get in there? Why did all this happen with this game? But the one question that kept me for so many nights was, Red said that he had known me for a long time. then, I can't shake this feeling of being watched. The game made me ask myself questions about death and reality in ways that I never wanted to think about. I'm not too sure of anything anymore. Constantly thinking about it soon began to have a negative impact on my life. I just didn't care about anything else at this point. By comparison, all the other day-to-day activities seemed utterly pointless. I eventually decided that I had to choose between one of two things: try to play the game again or destroy it.
Destroy it!
I tried several times to convince myself to try the former, but I never got further than plugging the NES back up. Just touching that cartridge made me remember all the pain that I felt during the fight with Red. I wonder if perhaps playing the game again myself may cause something terrible to happen. I didn't know anything about how this game works, and it was too risky. I wasn't sure if I could stand another round of the game anyway. So, then it was time for the other option.
Destroy it.
Wanting to get some fresh air, I took the game with me and drove to the lake, planning to throw it in. I got up to the lake with the cartridge in my hands, and I looked down on it. And I thought of Melissa. If what I had experienced in this game was indeed genuine, doing what I did may have been the only way to save her from endless torture. In a way, this warped game might have saved her soul. Damn it. Once the thought came into my head, I knew then I wouldn't be able to destroy it, so
What?
I just sat back down on a bench, gazing at the lake for about an hour. And ultimately I decided on a third option.
Keep the game but never
Selling
play
the
it.
game on eBay.
No, no, no!
But I promise you that it may be selfish. And ultimately I decided on a third option. Selling the game on eBay. It may be selfish, but I promise you that it has nothing to do with the money. I don't care how much or little I get paid for this game, believe me. It's selfish because I don't want the responsibility of owning this cartridge anymore. I cannot dwell on this forever, and the only way that I can deal with this is by putting the game out of my life. So this brings me to the main reason I created a summary of these events. First is to record the details while I can remember them, and second is that whoever bids in this game knows what they're getting into. I can't guarantee the safety of anyone else who plays the game, or that anything will happen at all. But to the new owner of the game, remember this. Be careful. And if you feel as if the game is literally messing with your mind, shut the damn thing off.
Basically, I feel bad for whoever owns this game. Seriously, it may say Godzilla on it, but don't ever play it. Now, I'm going to post this video on YouTube, and this has been a react to NES Godzilla Chapter 8 finale. Bye.